We have Grandmaster Vidit Gujrathi going towards his game today. A very important round for him. He is right now at the bottom of the table. He has had 3 losses and 3 draws in 6 rounds of the UzChess Cup. In the 7th round, now he takes on Nikolas Theodorou. Nikolas Theodorou, the winner of last year's UzChess Challengers. And he won against Hans Niemann in round 1 and then has had 3 losses and 2 draws against Nepo and Yakuboyev. He'll be looking to do well in this one. You can see Vidit just meditating, getting into the groove for the game. A handshake and off we go. Let's see what Vidit plays. He can play e4, d4, knight f3. He goes knight to f3 for move 1, presses the clock. Nikolas, well, d5 is a common move here. You can also play knight f6. There's also c5. So many possibilities. He goes pawn to d5, the most solid move. And now will Vidit convert it into d4, d5 territory with the move d4? Yes, he does. He plays pawn to d4. And now Nikolas plays his pawn to e6, the queen's gambit structure. And c4 would take us into queen's gambit territory. He goes pawn to g3, and with it playing like the Catalan with bishop g2 castles, but hasn't yet committed his pawn to c4. The knight comes out to f6, and now bishop to g2. I wonder if Nikolas wants to strike in the center with the pawn to c5. He goes knight c6, a slightly weird move, I must say. And with it simply castles. Because I've always felt like, what is the knight doing here without the pawn moving forward? But Nikolas is like, I have it under control. I know what I'm doing. I play bishop d6. And with it goes bishop to g5. He's already out of book, so he's thinking on his own. Castles here. And maybe knight d2 with the idea of e4 could be a plan here. Pawn to c3 played by Vidit. And Nikolas plays h6. He's moving quickly, which means that he could still be in his preparation. But this setup which black has gone for with knight on c6 looks a bit artificial, to be honest. I mean, e5 is something that you want to play, but then the d5 pawn is weak, so not so easy to engineer it. Knight d2 with the idea of e4 is what Vidit is angling for. And he goes e5. Anyway goes e5. Wow. And Vidit plays e4. And so now if e takes d4, you have e takes d5. If d takes e4, you have knight takes e4. He takes here. Knight takes, attacking the queen and the bishop. And now the queen needs to move away. He goes queen to g6. Well, the idea is f5. If you take here, I take back with the knight. But knight to h4. Wow. Vidit attacks the queen. And now queen to g4, offering a trade. Maybe you can play bishop f3 to avoid it. No, he plays d takes e5. And of course, you need to take, if you take with the knight, the d6 bishop is hanging. So bishop takes e5. Is kind of logical, but he takes the queen. But with the queen trade, it only helps white get the rook into the center of the board. Bishop takes. And now the problem for Nikolas is that after f4, he doesn't really have a move for his bishop. Can't go back to d6, it gets traded, has to go back to f6. So bishop f6, and now the knight will take on f6. It seems to me that this entire idea that Nikolas played in the opening with e5 was a bit mistimed, but maybe more so the move queen g6 could have gone queen e7 and white would have been slightly better. But now after knight f6, gf6, b3, Vidit is better, but I don't know if it is how sufficient it is for victory. Here king f2, because Vidit hasn't had particularly a great event. He would be slightly low on confidence. King f8. And do you want to trade rooks with rook fe1? He does it. Rook comes to e1. The bishop needs to move actually, but where? He goes knight to e7. Maybe wants to play c6, bishop e6, bishop d5, and f5 played by Vidit. He takes away the e6 square from the pieces. And by the way, just so that you know, if knight takes, there is rook takes, king takes, and then take, and bishop b7 with an advantage to white. So f5, a5, g4 played by Vidit, and a4. Vidit closes down the queen side with b4 and a3, fixing the weakness on the a2 square. We have bishop to e4 and pawn to c5 played, striking on the queen side. b5, pushing forward, and now rook to a5. And somehow Theodorou has just tried to play moves whereby he's tried to activate his pieces on their own. Like the rook comes from here, the other rook is here, bishop d7, trying to get the bishop here, pawn to c4. And in doing so, I think Vidit has had a very nice position. Knight to c8. Isn't this pawn hanging? Like bishop b7, maybe after take, knight b6, the c4 pawn is hanging. So Vidit calmly plays rook bd1, attacking the bishop. He takes off his jacket there. And bishop doesn't have too much space. He goes rook e7. Now bishop to c2. Not particularly sure. Knight b6 seems like a nice move. Do you want to put your bishop on b3? That might not be the best square. There are also some sacrifices to be considered. Yes, knight b6, bishop b3, and now bishop takes b5, cb5, c4, but doesn't seem enough compensation. He takes on e1. Now important to take with the king. So if you take with the rook, then takes, yes, king takes taken by Vidit. Let's say bishop c2 and rook b5 can get very nasty. So king e1, and he does sack his bishop there. A very good move by Nikolas Theodorou, I must say, is the best practical attempt. And he's essentially saying that your knight is offside and I'm playing on the queen side. I'm going to get this pawn. I'm coming to b2. I will have my own set of counterplay. Bishop c2, rook takes b5. And now Vidit finds the best defensive move, rook b1. Is this position winning enough for Vidit? Takes, bishop takes, and now knight d5. Plays the move. Knight c3 is the threat. The knight comes back to f3. And now if knight to c3, you have a very nice move. He goes b5, but this is the point of Vidit. King d2, knight b1, king c2, and the knight is trapped. So that bit of calculation is very helpful. b5, and now Vidit brings his king up, king d2, b4, and we have knight to d4. Maybe the knight comes to c6, attacking the pawn here on b4. King comes up to e7. Yeah, actually you can take this, right? He plays knight to b5. Now I wonder, knight c6, king d6. You can't take it anyway, it's defended, sorry. So knight b5, king d7, and now bishop e4. So Vidit playing some good moves, taking away the chances of his opponent, and the good news is he's kept good time on the clock. And now this time b3, he comes back, bishop b1, very smart. Now the a3 pawn is weakened. Vidit makes the 40th move, comes back, gets up, knight b4. But now it's AB. By the way, if you play here, then BA2. So first you start with AB. If CB, then you have knight A3. But if A2, you can simply take knight A2 and B takes C4. Plays A2, but Vidit has calculated it through. Takes the pawn, knight takes bishop, and B takes C4. With an extra pawn, the knight is also a bit offside. And this is completely winning. Vidit brought with himself a banana there to just give him some energy. The last stretch of the game, h3, knight c6. You have a c passer, so push it, pawn to c5, and then slowly and steadily bring your king in. He goes knight e5, knight to d4, taking away the square of c6 from the black king. King e3. I think this time Vidit is very sure that he's going to win this. King d7, and you can even go king e4, king d5, and then push c6. Yeah, the king is coming. Knight to c4. And now knight to b3 played. The king comes up to c6. King d4. Knight to e5. And now knight d2. The plan is clear. Knight is coming to e4. These pawns are hanging. They are falling apart. And Vidit is totally winning here. And Nikolas Theodorou, well, he can safely resign the game. Vidit waiting for his opponent to resign there. And yes, resignation. Vidit scores his first win of the tournament. You can see the look of relief on his face. What a great performance by him here in this game. And well, the tournament could end well for Vidit. He's back up to 2698. He was down to 2694. So he would be happy to gain those 4 ELO points. And Vidit and Theodorou did analyze a lot. They also analyzed after the game to just show that how interested they were in the game. And we'll leave you with some of the analysis. For now, this is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye bye.
With a huge congratulations on first win of the tournament. I think there was a relief in your face when the handshake happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, just resign, man. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to convert this. But yeah, it's of course a relief after losing so many games. I've lost the count. To win a game, it feels really, really good.
I think we were like discussing right before the interview. You mentioned that there was no specific opening preparation for today, or at least not a long theoretical line. Was it just to get your opponent off book?
My preparation was actually I didn't even know what the first move I was going to play today.
Okay,
So
just
I
over
came to the
board.
board and I just played. Okay, fine, chuck it. Let's play deep. And I didn't even play d4. I played knight f3. I think, yeah. So, yeah, that was my preparation.
Yeah. And like after the opening, it did feel like you were slowly getting a better position. This what was your feeling after, let's say, the first 20 moves? Did you already feel you were starting to get an edge?
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised how we played the opening. It was very strange way of putting pieces, but I think modern chess allows all this stuff. But I was not sure. I really liked my position from the beginning. When I got this move e4, I thought white was much better, and yeah, it was a very pleasant position. But I think I misplayed a bit. He also misplayed a bit, and then again I misplayed. Then he misplayed. So yeah, overall a human game.
I think this idea when he made this knight sacrifice, and then he got these two pawns.
Yeah, I
I think
underestimated that.
probably that allowed him a lot of counterplay. What did you think?
Yeah, it allowed him a lot of counterplay. So when I played this move bishop c2, bishop b3,
Yeah.
I had seen this idea, but I thought, okay, I mean there should be something, because I was low on time. But I think black, it should be draw in that position. But I'm glad that I found a very nice resource in the endgame to play knight to b5. I think that was a very tough move. I mean to 4c, because I stop his king, and then I play this bishop e4. Although I think even after that there was a chance to make a draw, if I'm not wrong. But already he has to be very precise.
Yeah, and after that, like once you got the final chance in, I think the knight endgame was comfortably winning, right? There was no.
Yeah, I think knight endgame also I played this very nice move h3, knight c6 and c5, and then I bring knight to d4. I stop his king, and then I bring my king and slowly outmaneuver him. So I think it was precise play there.
Yeah, all in all, a great win. I know that the previous rounds have not been so easy on you, but does this win give you added confidence and motivation for the final two rounds?
Yeah, of course, it helps you heal from the previous losses. Of course, it's not enough for the tournament, but at least I had to. I had forgotten how it feels to win, so it's a pleasant feeling, and maybe at least the last two games I can finish well and play the chess I'm known to play. And, at least higher than my current level.
For sure. And I think after the game, you and Theodorou were discussing for quite a while, even outside the playing hall and over the board as well. Did he mention some interesting lines, maybe some defenses for him?
Yeah, I think one of the lines which we were speaking was, once I got this knight to b5, king d7, bishop e4, it looks like I'm very close to winning. But I thought maybe he could play b3, bishop b1, and I think it was the 40th move for him.
Yes.
He should take the pawn on a2, bishop a2, knight b4. Now only move knight c3. He takes knight a2, king d6, king e3, and now the move king d5 I thought was maybe drawing. And if I play a move like h3, he goes king c5, king e4, c3, king d3, and now c2, king c2, king d4. So he gives the pawn on the queen side and tries to bring the king. I thought this was his best chance to make a draw, but I'm not sure if it's drawing. But yeah, what he played in the game was much easier for me to convert after that.
Yeah, and just one final question with it. You've traveled in this tournament alone because generally you are traveling with your partner or some second. After the games, is there a specific routine you follow? Because I feel at times it can get a little lonely after a tough loss or let's after a long game. How do you unwind yourself after the games?
Yeah, I don't have a routine, because some days it's normal, but some days when I'm losing, I don't feel like doing anything. So I don't really have a routine, and all my games have been 5 hours,
Yeah,
close to 5 hours.
very long games.
So I never really got a time. I think only my one game against Nordirbek was a shorter
Relatively
game.
shorter draw. Yeah.
But every game has been 5 hours, and I have no time to do anything else. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. Thank you so much, Vidit, for the interview and congrats on the win again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take this pen.